Guys, we are less than a week away from the start of the NFL season, meaning you are running out of time to join our NFL Survivor contest. $10 entry fee. You can enter up to 5 times. Winner's gonna take home nearly $3 grand. $10 to potentially win $3 grand. Sounds pretty damn good to me. Check out the link in the pinned comment. Join the Survivor pool. If you don't know what Survivor pools are, you essentially pick one team to win every single week. If you win, you survive, you move on. If you lose, unfortunately, you're out. But the catch is you can only pick one team once per season. So if you pick a team in week 1 and you advance, you can't pick that team for the rest of the season. Super, super fun. I'm in there, as well as some of your other favorite content creators right here on YouTube. They're going to be in the exact same pool as well. So go check it out. Again, it's a $10 entry fee. Let's fill this pool up. Let's have some fun during the NFL season. Let's go. That link is in the pinned comment.
All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, September 4th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every game on the slate. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. Talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, all of my final plays, so that I'm actually rolling with myself, all of those plays will be listed in the pinned comment. So make sure to check that out. Yesterday, we just got by. We do come out green, but thank you so much to the Diamondbacks absolutely going off. They hit both of these team total lines that we had in the third inning. Unfortunately, the Twins, bad read there, both the money line as well as their team total over. Taking the 2 heavy favorites, Orioles and Braves parlay, that cashes. Alex Jackson does not get an at bat, so that's a push. But yeah, we had those 2 losses were both half units. We kind of combat that with the 2 half unit wins, and then we have a full unit parlay win there with the Braves and the Orioles. So you know what? That cha-ching is not because we made so much money last night, right? That cha-ching is because the Diamondbacks kept us afloat. Shout out to the D-backs there. Game got a little bit sweaty, which we can talk about here. But you know what? First, let's abuse the soundboard. Let's pump in some crowd noise for Patrick in winning the ride of the day with a nice cash here. It was a big cash, too, odds-wise. Same game parlay of the Diamondbacks' money line and the over 7.5 runs. Well, the Diamondbacks scored 8 runs, but they win the game 8-7. So it did get a little bit sweaty, but we had to be feeling good after they were up like 6-0 in the first few innings, right? So shout out to Patrick here for the ride of the day. If you guys do not know what the ride of the day is, it is simple. It's as simple as that. All you have to use is hashtag ride of the day or ROTD in the comments, and I'm jumping on board with one person's play, giving you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win like Patrick did, and I selected your pick the day before, we continue to ride with your play. So Patrick, looking forward to seeing what you pull out today. Let's say you got to get it in by, let's do 1 p.m. Eastern time, because we do have one early game. So 1 p.m. Eastern time, get your entry in, and we're going to ride with Patrick again. If Patrick were to have lost last night, it didn't happen, but if he were to have lost, we would have had to talk about it. He'd have to face the music. We'd play the womp womp. So it's a really cool thing. We do the ride of the day. Make sure to get your plays down there in the comments. But enough rambling from me. Let's, I guess, ramble some more here. Let's jump in to these games. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, guys. FYI, we have a ton of football videos coming out in the next few days. Today, you're going to get my Thursday night picks. That's going to come out around 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Around noon or 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, we have Head to Head, which is a football show that I do with Tassos, who does the player props here on the channel. So very, very excited for that. So make sure to keep an eye out for those. But yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, buckle up. Let's rock. We got Toronto taking on Philadelphia. Yesterday's game, talk about a barn burner, right? This is a spot in which Philly goes down real early. Toronto gets to Phillips very early, and then Philly, for the rest of the game, kind of scoring runs. Toronto scores runs, and then top of the ninth, Philly's put in 3, and they end up winning this one 10-9. So an absolute barn burner of a game here. Today, Bowden Francis is on the bump for the Blue Jays, going up against Christopher Sanchez. Now, Christopher Sanchez is not at home. He is a different pitcher when he is on the road. So I don't really have all that much faith in them, to be completely honest. I think in this spot, and I don't know if I end up playing it myself, because the Phillies offense is coming around. You know what I mean? Like I say, they're coming around the mountain when they come. Like, this is an offense that's putting it together, lefty or righty. They were kind of cold against righties for a while, but right now I'm still just not fully ready to, I guess, believe in Christopher Sanchez on the road. So I'm going to lean Toronto for the plus money. But like I said, because that offense is so good and Bowden Francis is pitching against them, I'm going to have a tough time making that a final play. Now, the total's sitting at 8. That's kind of indicating that this is going to be a low-scoring game to me, obviously, because we saw 10-9 yesterday. Now we have two pitchers on the mound. Chris Sanchez on the road can be considered meh, right? Yet the total drops down to 8. So I think I'm going to lean towards the under and kind of follow the trap that it seems that they're setting. So give me Toronto with the plus money as well as the under. But like I said, unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to have the cojones to pull the trigger on either one of those plays. Because, again, I just talked about Philly's offense looking good, right? Well, Toronto's offense also scored 9 runs last night. And if we're just trying to, outthink the books or outsmart them, and they just go out there and do that again, we're going to look dumb taking an under. All right, we got the Orioles taking on the White Sox. Albert Suarez on the mound for the Orioles. In terms of how he has been pitching, he's been pretty damn good. I've said good things and bad things about Suarez because he's been somewhat inconsistent. I feel like he goes into these pockets, but right now he's in a fantastic pocket. Last 5 starts, 0.8 ERA, and you're probably like, well, he hasn't seen any offenses, right? Well, partially true, but he's seen 3 really good offenses in his last 5. He's seen Toronto, Boston, and Houston, so give him a little bit of credit there, right? Yes, he also played against Colorado, and yes, he played against Tampa Bay, but arguably his worst game was against Colorado on the road, so it's that could even be, given some leeway, I guess, because it was in Colorado. So he's been pitching really well. He's going up against Jonathan Cannon here, who has not been pitching very, very well. Jonathan Cannon on the season here, ERA-wise, 4.7 ERA. It's not much better in the last 5 starts. This is probably another spot like yesterday where maybe we look to try and fit in Baltimore's, money line into some sort of a parlay. I do still think that their offense is absolutely cooking right now, and it's proving, right? They scored in their last 5 games here, 5, 5, 6, 13, and 9. So, yeah, I like the idea that, they can keep this thing going. I don't want to say that, the over hits here because just like yesterday, that would end up being a sweat. You know what I mean? You had Baltimore cover an 8.5 line by themselves. White Sox didn't score a single run. So give me Baltimore, but it'd have to be some sort of parlay throw-in because they're way too juiced here, as well as maybe their team total over. I'll still lean over, but again, the White Sox being on the other side are going to be the thing that keeps me away from that full game total just because of yesterday. Could that not be a better example of why it's sketchy to kind of just take an over when you only believe in one of those teams? You know what I mean? So probably the only way that we end up rolling with this would be Baltimore in some sort of parlay, which paid off yesterday. Maybe we can see if we can run something like that back. All right, Cincinnati taking on Houston here. We have Spencer Spaghetti Arrietty on the mound for the Houston Astros, going up against Nick Martinez for the Reds. And I don't know why I have this soft spot for Nick Martinez. Maybe it's because I've seen him pitch well in the past, but he's been really, really shaky in his last 5 starts. That said, he's been going bad start, good start, bad start, good start. He's coming off of a bad start against Milwaukee, and it wasn't that terrible. He ends up getting kind of hit up late. And Spencer Arrietty has been pitching phenomenally, so I'm going to sound the psycho alert alarm. I'm leaning towards the Reds in this spot ever so slightly. I think that this should be or could be a 50-50 type of a game, yet you're getting plus 120 for the Reds, okay? So don't jump down my throat being like, how could you ever? It's just I'm just taking the liking to the plus money here, and I'm almost trying to sniff out some Spencer Arrietty regression. He's been so good. I don't know how long he can keep this up. And Nick Martinez actually has good numbers against the current guys on this Houston roster. 61 plate appearances against. He has a K rate pretty damn low, but his average against of 207, also low, but that's a good thing. And his expected WOBA of 292, so maybe he can go out there and pitch a decent game. And what I like about the fact that we're looking at Spencer Arrietty is 52% of his pitches are fastballs, then he moves on to the cutter, right? 2 pitches that Cincinnati hits very well. Now, they haven't been hitting it as well as they were, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, that type of thing, but to me, they showed yesterday they can beat this team. I think they can go out there and do it again for plus money. Now, the fact that they won yesterday probably can put the foot on the brake to some people because they're the worst team compared to Houston, no questions asked. But maybe that's kind of tough. Does a team that's worse win 2 games in a row? Not necessarily, but if you put this in a vacuum, I don't mind Cincinnati's starter, and I don't mind them against Spencer Arrietty. So for plus money, I'm going Cincinnati, but unfortunately, there's still 3 games in, and it's kind of some of these things I like, but not really loving, right? Now, in terms of a total, we're looking at 9. The safety net play is probably taking the over here. Maybe you can snag it at like 8.5 or something. We saw 8 yesterday. Neither pitcher looked all that great. But, both of these offenses, especially in, when Cincinnati's at home, we could see some runs scored in Great American Ballpark. So I do like the over ever so slightly. If this gets to an over, though, I feel like that might help Houston because it means Nick Martinez didn't do his job. So they don't correlate, but in a vacuum, I like Cincinnati plus money as well as a slight lean towards the over. And oh man, I've been excited to talk to you guys about this because Sleeper is coming in hot. They have so many free squares for new users now live in the app. I'm only showing 5 of them. They have like 7 of them there. So if you are not on Sleeper yet and getting these free squares, go try it out. You can use the link in the pinned comment. You're going to get 100% of your first deposit matched. You have all of these free squares, football, basketball. They have some college football squares on there as well as it's Wildcard Wednesday. They're going to do some sort of a discount, some sort of, no sweat bet type of thing as well. Go check out Sleeper, guys. You're going to get so much value. I don't even know what else to tell you about it. I've been using Sleeper for years. If you use it, I think that you'll have a lot of fun doing it. They offer more lines and even alternate lines compared to a lot of the other apps out there. And all you do is combine 2 or more player props into a slip. The more you get right, the more you get paid out. You can win up to 100 times over on Sleeper. And last thing, and I say this all the time about Sleeper because I think it's the coolest thing to do, each and every one of the picks and slips that you put together, the dynamic odds change and the payouts change. They don't just follow a fixed payout structure. 2 for 2 is 3 times, blah, blah, blah. No, each and every square you put into your slip will change the payout based on what you're selecting. So it's really, really cool. But that's cool too, all of those free squares. Go check out Sleeper, guys. That link is in the pinned comment. It's an absolute no-brainer. I'm telling you that. I'm looking you in the eyes. If it's legal in your state and available in your state, go check out Sleeper. That link is in the pinned comment. Now let's jump back into these games. I wish some of these were freebies like those free squares on Sleeper. Miami taking on Washington. We have Valente Belozo on the mound for Miami going against Mackenzie Gore for Washington. Yesterday, Washington wins it 6-2. I liked that spot. Really couldn't get there myself because at the end of the day, even when you like a Washington spot, it's still Washington, right? Now, I know that at the beginning of the year they were super profitable and whatnot, but still, that sentiment holds some weight, right? Miami's been very profitable as of late as well, but looking at Valente Belozo, I just can't really get behind what he's been doing now. If you look at his last 5 ERA, it looks okay at 2.6, right? But his last 2 starts have been god-awful. He's allowed to combine 6 home runs, 14 hits, 7 walks, and earned runs-wise, 11 earned runs and 6 runs in each of the games. So one of them wasn't earned, but just really has not been all that great and on top of his stuff. Now he's going up against an offense that actually hits righties pretty well in Washington. 6th best average. They strike out the second fewest. On base 7th. OPS 9th. This doesn't look all that terrible from a Washington perspective if you can kind of trust Mackenzie Gore, because even if we jump into the dashboard, which by the way, guys, if you do want to check out the dashboard, I'll also put a link to this in the pinned comment. Just become a channel member. $2.99 a month. You get every single game broken out here via pitcher, bullpen, pitch mix, batting against those pitches. Super, super helpful, and I appreciate all the kind words. Everyone that becomes a member, again, it's only $2.99 per month. Everyone that becomes a member is like, I can't go my day without this dashboard. We put a lot of work into and still put a lot of work into this and making sure that it is clean and updated and just has everything you need. I appreciate all the kind words. So yeah, don't take it from me. Take it from everyone else that has been using it. In fact, let me know in the comments if you've been using the dashboard this season, because I use it every single day. But anyways, back to this game. I don't mind some of these spots for, Washington. Again, looks like Mackenzie Gore's been a little bit better on the road. That's great. These are the numbers I just referenced in terms of their offense. But the biggest thing I noted is, one, Valente Belozo's been bad his last 3 starts, right? He's also god-awful on the road. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs, a lot of cutters, and then he moves into the changeup, and then finally the slider, right? Well, fastball, don't mind if I do. Number 1 team last 30 days runs above average per 100 fastballs seen. Same thing for the cutter, only 6. And then change up top 10. And then finally the slider they kind of stink at, right? So it's almost a spot in which this may be a dream pitch mix matchup for the Nationals. Now, again, we bet on the Nationals. They're at minus 130 right now. Is that too much? It might be. You're still taking a decently juiced line with the Nationals, but everything kind of points to them as of right now. The only thing that would be tough is like their bullpen isn't all that great, so maybe you look at first five or even first five run line, get some plus money. That's the type of direction I would lean in this game. When it comes to a total, I'm going to lean towards the under. I think Washington scored some runs here, but I don't really believe in the Miami bats. Now, what they've been doing lately is kind of just up and down, so sure, they're capable of going out there and scoring a bunch, but like at home, they really haven't been scoring that many runs, so I don't want to sit here and talk them up or anything like that, so I'm going to lean under, but if anything were to be played in this game, most likely it would be Washington on the money line. Actually, probably first five money line, to be honest. All right, here's the one that bit us in the you-know-what yesterday. Well, I guess you don't know what. In the butt yesterday. I don't want you guys drawing your own conclusions there. We got Tampa Bay taking on Minnesota. I still think we're waiting for finalized starters here, but it looks like primary pitching-wise, so both teams may roll with an opener. Tyler Alexander for Tampa Bay, Minnesota looking like Louis Varland, which both of those guys on the mound, and the fact that we could have openers here makes me want to stay off of this in the first place. So anything I say moving forward, take it with a grain of salt. I'm still going to lean towards Minnesota, even though it kind of jumped up and bit us in the ass yesterday. It worked for us 2 days ago, and we fade, the Rays right-handed pitching. And honestly, like when you think about it, Tampa Bay only scored 2 runs yesterday. We were on the right mindset, but Minnesota just didn't show up, and it stinks because we took Minnesota the same bets 2 days in a row. I don't want to do it 3 days in a row, but I can't get to the Tampa Bay side here, so I do lean towards Minnesota on the money line. I want to see who's starting, who's going. I've seen Ronnie Henriquez and then Cole Sulzer, I think, but again, those are just openers. I'm pretty sure it's Varland and who did I say? Tyler Alexander as primary, right? But Minnesota Twins on the money line here, fading the Rays against a righty. It still worked yesterday, just didn't work well enough because the Minnesota Twins didn't come prepared whatsoever offensively, and they're going up against another lefty. So I saw comments yesterday being like, well, you're fading Tampa Bay against a righty, but Minnesota against lefties haven't been all that great. That's totally fair and valid, and I give you that. But overall, I still think that they are the better offense, regardless of who can hit who. Like, Minnesota's a little bit better at hitting lefties than Tampa Bay is at hitting righties, if that makes sense. In terms of a total, still want to wait out the pitchers, like I've been saying. But I don't mind an under here because then put even more weight into what the comment said yesterday about Minnesota's offense, right? They're not all that tremendous. Okay, then I like the under 8 because I don't think the Rays score a lot of runs, and we've already seen a 5-4 game that seemed like it was pulling teeth getting to that number. And then a 2-1 game yesterday. So I don't mind the under in this spot either. All right, Mets taking on the Red Sox, and I see the comments. I know that for whatever reason, I've been really leaning Red Sox, and yet they've only won 3 of their last 10 games, and they've lost 4 straight. I get it. Tyler McGill's on the mound today for the Mets here, going up against Tanner Houck. Tanner Houck, again, I always say it has not been the same pitcher since the All-Star break, but he just had a really good outing. 6 innings pitched, just 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, no earned runs against Detroit, 5 days ago. So I don't mind the idea of backing him here, but I don't really trust him on the road. I don't trust him overall, and I think this Mets offense is showing that even when they're scoring, just a few runs, they're still the better and more consistent offense here, because the Red Sox have now scored 5 combined runs in their last 4 games. They're averaging like 1.2 runs per game. Did I do that right? That might be the smartest I've ever been. Clap it up. Comment smart if you made it this far into the video, if that is the case. Let's see. 5 divided by 4, 1.25. No, wait, 4 to... I think I got it right. 1.2 counts. Count it. Put it on the board. We already clapped. All right. In this one, like I said, I just think that the Mets offense is better, and now they're underdogs here due to the fact that Tanner Houck's on the mound. It's crazy. I know. I'm going to lean against the Red Sox here. Give me the Mets on the money line, and the Red Sox are going to win now. In terms of the total, though, I'm backing this Mets team because of their offense, but I don't think Tanner Houck is going to absolutely crap the bed, so I almost think that this could be a 4-3, 4-2, 5-2 type of a game overall, so I'm actually going to lean towards the under, even though the reason I like the Mets isn't their starter is because of the offense, I guess, and more consistent offense. They've still been kind of shaky, you know what I mean? But I'm going to lean towards the under. All right, Braves taking on Colorado. I know I mentioned wanting to kind of throw in something with the Orioles in a parlay. this could be something that I would consider, but I'm not the biggest Charlie Morton guy. I still think he's going to be better than Bradley Blaylock, who's on the mound for Colorado, and it's still Atlanta against Colorado, but Atlanta's offense really didn't do, like, if they didn't have Chris Sale pitching yesterday, that's not a guaranteed win, you know what I mean? Sale goes 7 innings. I don't even know how many runs he earned, or 0, I guess, yeah, because it was they didn't score any runs. I don't know who came in after him, but I don't know, what to do in this spot, because I want to throw Atlanta in because they're such a juiced play, and you're taking 2 heavy favorites, and they could never lose, right? But I only did that yesterday because of Chris Sale, so it's like not exactly the best spot. I still would consider something like a Baltimore and Atlanta parlay, because never mind the fact that Morton's on the mound or anything like that, we're also essentially fading the White Sox and fading Colorado, and it's like, okay, like now you're talking. Doesn't matter. I could pitch against either one of those teams. I could kick the ball and throw a strike against either one of those teams, and I've never even played soccer, so it's like probably still a good move, but I just want you guys to know I'm not as confident in that now without Chris Sale on the mound. I still don't mind an under, though. I think that this Braves team can go out there and maybe score maximum 5 runs, and I think the Rockies will be hard-pressed to get to 4, regardless of who's pitching for the Braves. If it's Morton or their bullpen, like, this is still a Rockies team that, they're not in Colorado here. They're going to struggle to score some runs. When they're on the road, they're scoring about 3. Yesterday we saw 0, so fading that offense isn't all that dumb. So I like the under, and then if I were to play this, it'd be in some sort of parlay, which seems like it might be Atlanta and Baltimore parlay, something like that. Kansas City taking on Cleveland. This is kind of interesting. It is, because the Royals have been really good at home this year, but it looks like Cleveland has their number. They've won 4-2. They won 7-1. Even earlier in the year, they won a game 7-2 in KC. I think that Kansas City won that series, but nonetheless, there's something to be said here. Now, we do see odds that are definitely in favor of Kansas City, -140. They were underdogs yesterday. They had Brady Singer going up against Tanner Beebe, so things are a little flipped on their head today. I'm not so sure how confident I am in this Kansas City lineup right now. Like, I still think they're a better offense than Cleveland from the macro, but in the micro, these last few games, be kind of psycho to say that out loud, right? I will say that you're going to get a lot of sinkers. You're going to get a lot of fastballs. You're going to get a lot of sliders from Lively. All pitches that Kansas City hits fairly well. I'm going to lean Kansas City, trusting Lugo here. Maybe a first 5 money line type of thing, but I don't know how inclined I am to pull the trigger on them at -140 and that type of thing. This Cleveland team's showing that they stand on business, and they're +120 today. That isn't that crazy if you want to roll with that, but I do think that, Kansas City avoids the sweep here and gets 1 win at home. So give me them on the money line. In terms of the total, I went back and forth. This is another one where it's like, if it was 8, I would take the over. If it was 9, I might consider the under. The line's 8.5, so I'm no genius more than anyone else watching this right now. I'll lean towards the over, but I don't really have the best of read on that one, because I would say the Royals are going to go out there and score some runs against Lively, but the Royals are struggling to score runs, so kind of tough to take an over there, but I will. I'm Milwaukee taking on St. Louis here. We have Colin Rea on the mound going up against Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray has seen this Milwaukee team twice, and he hasn't looked all that tremendous against them. Rea has seen the Cardinals once this year, 5 innings of scoreless baseball, so there is something to be said there. I like Sonny Gray. I know a lot of people faded him in his last start and ended up getting burned because he pitched fairly well, right? Was that against the Cardinals played? I think in his last start was the Padres or something. That's neither here nor there. I do think that I'm going to roll with Milwaukee yet again. We've been leaning their way all series, and I like the idea that they ended up losing yesterday, because now we're not in that sweep situation or anything like that. So yeah, give me Milwaukee here on the money line. It's essentially a pick 'em. Depending on where you look at this, you can get some decent odds on either team. So definitely do your research and sign up for as many sportsbooks as you can to capitalize. And by the way, guys, we have links to MGM, DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, all in the pinned comment. You get the best deals possible for the sign-up bonuses. We're up to date on that. So go ahead and check it out if you want some more sports books, by the way. They're at the very bottom of the pinned comment, and they're always there. But in this spot, I'm going to be trusting, Milwaukee's offense, as well as Sonny Gray's inconsistent pitching as of late, and against Milwaukee, as like I said, already two times this year. I almost said that so weird. 2 times this year. I don't even know what that is. But Sonny Gray, 2 times this year, kind of got rocked by them, definitely in one of them. And then his career against the guys on this roster, 75 plate appearances against. He's got an average against of 292, a WOBA of 396, a slugging of 501, a 379 expected Woba. So definitely a guy that Milwaukee, or at least the guys on the team, have been able to hit up before. So give me Milwaukee on the money line. I'll lean towards another one where 8 just seems like the perfect number. I'll lean towards a Milwaukee team total over. Instead of having to worry about this game, 4-3 or 5-3, pushing that type of thing, give me a Milwaukee team total over. Right now, you can get that. Let me get the up-to-date odds. Milwaukee over 3.5 for -120. Something that I'm considering. I would say that. Even in their loss yesterday, right? They went out there and scored 4 runs. So they've hit the over here in 8 of their last 10 games. They've gone against some decent pitchers. So I don't mind that over 3.5 whatsoever. Cubs taking on the Pirates here. Wouldn't we have loved to see Skeens and Imanaga going at it? But they obviously are one day apart here. Now we have Shota Imanaga on the mound for the Cubs going against Domingo Germán. The Cubs are heavily favored for a reason, and it makes sense to me. You have a really good pitcher, and I guess, yesterday excluded a really good offense kind of in full effect right now. So I don't mind the Cubs, but I'm not going to be touching them for -198. That's silly pricing. Domingo Germán with his one start this season. Let's see. I have his lineup here somewhere in the notes. Please hold. It didn't look all that tremendous, right? But yes, here it is. So August, I guess. Let's see. There we go. Started is one start this season, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. Nothing all that tremendous. He has been pitching, in his relief outings and whatnot decently. He has a couple games with a 1.5 ERA and then a 3 ERA. So it's like he's a mixed bag now because of injuries and whatnot in that starting lineup. So it's probably Chicago or nothing for me, but I don't know if that Chicago price makes any sense. Even in a parlay, I don't think the Cubs are -200 type favorites. Like yesterday when we did Baltimore and the Braves, I thought those were both locks. You know what I mean? The Cubs, I think that they're overpriced here, so probably something that we end up staying away from. The total sitting at 8. I don't mind looking at a Cubs team total over. One, you get to kind of fade the idea of Domingo Germán, who throws a ton of fastballs and a changeup, very two-dimensional pitcher, right? The Cubs right now smacking the fastball around, hitting the changeup as well. So maybe a Cubs team total over is just the way to do this without having to worry about, what the Pirates offense does, or if the Cubs, if Shota Imanaga doesn't have a fantastic game, that type of thing. We're just kind of saying, hey, go out there and score some runs. Maybe that's how we play it, because I don't want to rely on either one of these, or I guess I should say Pittsburgh in particular, to contribute to the over 8, because Pittsburgh could go out there and absolutely stink it up against Shota. So Cubs team total over, probably the only thing I'd touch, if even that, in this game. Texas taking on the Yanks here. Now we have Nate Eovaldi. I know I called for that. Was that a couple days ago? I was like, give me Nate Eovaldi versus Garrett Cole, but obviously it doesn't work out like that here. In terms of who's pitching on the Yankee side of things, looks like it's going to be Marcus Stroman, who has looked a lot better in his last 4 starts. He's had such an up and down season, and I don't really mind the idea of the Yankees yet again today, especially coming off of a loss. They scored 4 runs yesterday. Texas scored 7, but I even mentioned in yesterday's video, it's like it was Rodon on the road, right? Like, at least Marcus Stroman has had his ups and downs no matter where he's playing, if it's on the road or at home. The one thing I'll say, Nate Eovaldi, I love him. He's a great pitcher. He throws a fastball, a splitter, and a cutter. Well, the Yankees hit the fastball super well. They hit the sinker super well. The cutter, they do not. So if Nate Eovaldi's cutter is working, then fine. I give you a little bit of credit there that maybe he's going to have a good game against them, and he has pitched well against them in the past. He also has some bad appearances against them in the past. He has almost 250 plate appearances against his current team, so it's just a mixed bag. They've seen him a lot. He's seen them a lot. But overall, it's like I think that this Yankees offense is the thing that's going to pull them through. Even if they withstand Eovaldi, you have that god-awful Texas bullpen to get to. So give me the Yankees here. I think we're getting a really good team, a really solid offense at -105. That's the direction I'd lean. Now, I know everyone hates the Yankees, and even Stroman has struggled. I understand that. But to me, if Stroman keeps doing what he's been doing, there could be a good chance for a Yankees final play today, if I think Stroman's going to keep doing what he's doing. The total sitting at 8.5. I'm going to lean towards the over, because I think again, I just said if Stroman does what he does, has been doing, but there's also a chance that he doesn't. And the Texas Rangers look like their offense is in a little bit better form than it was even a week ago, right? Now, last 3 games, 6, 4, 7 runs. Maybe they're turning a little bit of a corner. They get a guy that doesn't have a bunch of junk in Stroman. They should be able to find him out, I guess. And then again, everything I said about the Yankees stands tall. Like, I think that the Yankees have a chance of touching up Eovaldi today. But don't get me wrong. I also get the take of Eovaldi could shut down the Yankees. As a Red Sox fan, I've watched Eovaldi do that in the past. You know what I mean? So he just has he could go either way. Eovaldi's had his up and down too. So Yankees as well as the over in this spot. All right. Watching back yesterday's video, I was leaning towards the Angels, and I honestly, guys, I'm not even kidding you. I almost pulled the trigger on the Angels money line yesterday. They lose 6-2, so that would have been a womp worthy play. Everyone in the comments was like, are you serious? Like, what a terrible spot. And fine, fair enough. They lose 6-2. Today, it could be different. No, today I'm definitely not looking at the Angels. Griffin Canning on the mound. I don't care how much. I honestly am starting to dislike Bobby Miller because of how hyped up he was, and he's supposed to be the best player and the best pitcher in the league at the beginning of the year. The dude is, I know he had his injuries and whatnot, but the dude's kind of like, what are we doing here, right? He's just been more average than anything, and he's going up against a bad pitcher in Griffin Canning. I like the Dodgers just because of their offense. Maybe this is the parlay throw-in that we go with the Orioles, right? Right now, if you throw in a parlay with the Orioles, let's see if we can get some good odds here. Orioles money line as well as Dodgers money line, not bad, minus 104 on FanDuel. That could be a nice little parlay there. Maybe that's the move, and that's the way that we kind of work in the parlay with the Orioles. So maybe that's something that we go with. The total here is, I like the Dodgers. The total here is sitting at 10. That's a little bit too high for me. Like, I don't think the Angels are going to contribute, and I do think the Dodgers could score some runs, but if anything, I'd touch the Dodgers team total over, not expecting the Angels to go out there and do that, because I know now that I ragged on Bobby Miller, he's going to go out there and be a stud. He does throw a ton of fastballs. That's his main pitch, right? And this is an Angels team that does not hit the fastball well, so he could have a decent night tonight. It would only help our parlay if we throw that in. So give me the under as well as the Dodgers, probably in some sort of parlay, something like money line with Baltimore. Isn't betting great? Yesterday, we see a first 5 under, which I've been begging for in this Oakland and Seattle series. We hadn't gotten it, but now we see it yesterday, and we didn't even touch it. That's what's great about sports betting. It is actually what's great about sports betting, knowing that even though you lost the night before, it happens the next night, and you're like, damn, just keeps you coming back, keeps the juices flowing. Still a loss, nonetheless. 2 nights ago. Today we have, I believe it's George Kirby on the bump going up against JP Sears. This should be a Mariners day. I like George Kirby. He's been kind of struggling though, but I can't picture a better sort of get right spot for him other than going up against this Oakland team. He already faced them once. He had 9 strikeouts through 5 innings, only 2 earned runs. So yeah, it could be a good spot for him. That was also in Oakland, if I'm not mistaken. So seems like he could be fairly comfortable there. It's just going to be a matter of if Seattle's offense can kind of get over the hump. Yesterday, we leaned Oakland. I wanted to pull the trigger on Oakland. Didn't have the cojones to do it. And Oakland wins 3-2. And Seattle's now lost 4 straight games because they're just scoring such a mediocre number of runs. 2-3. Oh, they have a 4. It's like, no, they got to put some runs on the board. JP Sears is who I mentioned, right? Pitching. I wouldn't say that he's all that much of a stud, but he's definitely a little bit better at home. So something to think about here. As long as George Kirby does his job, I think Seattle can put up a couple runs on Sears. But if George Kirby doesn't do his job, Oakland could capitalize and continue to kind of just one up Seattle. You know what I mean? Like last night, 1 run comes in late for Oakland and they win the game. So I'll lean towards George Kirby and Seattle here. The odds are kind of tough at minus 140, especially for a team that has lost 4 straight, but this should be a bounce back spot for them. In terms of a total, first 5 under 4.5 is something that I'm looking at. Don't think I'll pull the trigger on it because I already jinxed it in the video, but Seattle on the money line is probably my main play here. San Diego taking on the Detroit Tigers. All right, so on the mound for San Diego is going to be Yu Darvish going up against Keider Montero. This is an interesting one, right? We don't exactly know what exactly. I got to start speaking better. We don't know exactly what to expect from Yu Darvish coming off of the 15-day IL, though we know he is a very good pitcher, and Keider Montero isn't really a good pitcher. San Diego has the better offense, but like I already mentioned, we don't know exactly what we're getting, and I don't think that I'm willing to bet minus 205, whether it's in a parlay or even hell taking their run line. I don't think that that's worth backing someone as they might still be getting their feet wet, right? So I'm actually going to flip it, and I'm going to look at just a full game under as well as a first 5 under, because I don't necessarily think that I want to be on the Detroit side of things, but I don't know if Detroit kind of comes to play regardless of who's pitching. Like, that offense isn't all that tremendous. San Diego's is, and they could, burn this under, but overall, it's like I'm kind of backing Yu Darvish without having to directly back Yu Darvish by taking an under, right? Like, what if Montero pitches a great game? We kind of have that in the back pocket as well. And if we get it at 8 right now, I've seen it on some sportsbooks at 7.5. So clearly the line's moving in that direction. So I'll take the under. It's somewhat backing San Diego, but again, I would be all over San Diego, probably, again, a parlay piece or something, if it was, say, Cease pitching or something like that. I just want to see Yu Darvish look good before we jump all over him, you know what I mean? And honestly, San Diego's offense has been kind of like, not mediocre, but a little bit worse than they were, so it's like maybe another good reason to consider an under, Oh, I owe the Diamondbacks from last night. We were heading into that with a slightly, in the red. We had 2 plays on the Diamondbacks, only worth a full unit altogether, but one was a plus money play, and that cashes over 4.5 runs, and the other one was 3.5 runs, so obviously that cashed as well. Now we have Zach Gallen taking on Hayden Birdsong. I like the Diamondbacks again. I'm not, someone commented yesterday, and I appreciate the hell out of it. I wish I remembered the username, so I'm sorry. You probably know who you are, but you're like, why are you running with the same plays over and over? And I have to take that into consideration. Why am I trying to bet the same plays over and over? If I were to roll with anything in this one, it would be something I did yesterday, but I think it's the more conservative line of over 3.5. But even that total down at 7.5 tells me it could be a little scary to roll with 3.5. So I think I stay away from this game altogether. We have Zach Gallen going up against Hayden Birdsong. Obviously, there's a strong pitching advantage for the Diamondbacks, but the Diamondbacks have made us some bread recently. You know what I mean? I don't need to get greedy. I don't need to jump all over it, but I do like the Diamondbacks and probably their team total over. In terms of the full game, not exactly sure where I come out there. I don't mind a nerfy, but again, I think the Diamondbacks at some point get to Birdsong. It's just a matter of I've already cashed with the Diamondbacks enough in the last, 2 weeks that sometimes you got to just say, hey, this team's not just going to print you money, you know what I mean? At some point, that blows up in your face. That is the mind of a sports bettor, isn't it? It's like everything I just said in the last, 30 seconds has nothing to do with the actual game. It has everything to do with the fact that they made me money yesterday, and now I'm too afraid to try and ask for it again. That's what it is, guys. That's sports betting. But anyways, Arizona and then team total over. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hope you guys did enjoy. I am super excited for football season. You don't even know. I'm burning the candle at every angle. Not candle at both ends. I know that's a saying. We're taking it from every single wick imaginable with football. We have, I believe, minimum 26 videos coming out weekly now, which is just absolutely awesome. I think potentially more. I'm going to be doing some one-off videos as well, which is just a lot of work, but so worth it because of you guys. So thank you guys for sticking with us. Buckle up for this football season. Again, win, lose, we're going to be making the videos. We're going to have a good time. We're going to be at least providing information and entertainment in these videos. I think that's something that people miss when even watching these baseball videos. It's like, yes, I believe in what I'm saying and all that, but I'm betting just like everyone else. I don't have the final score in front of me and then making a prediction based on that. You know what I mean? It's all subject to change once the ball gets thrown. So as long as everyone understands that, I think we can have a good time in any sport that we bet on, because again, at the end of the day, I still think entertainment, trying to make money. It's got to be there. You're betting on a game because you want more action in the game and you're going to enjoy the game that much more. And I truly believe that. You can have $1 on a game and you will enjoy that hour and a half a lot more. And to me, paying 1 hour for enjoyment is $1 for 1 hour. It's worth it. But anyways, I'm ranting here, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Stay tuned for all the videos dropping today. But yeah, catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.